Okay, welcome back to the city, and also the first video with a voiceover. Now, I am going to be doing mostly voiceovers from this from now on. Once again, it's a bit annoying to have to find a time to record every time instead of, just getting to play the game whenever I want without having to worry about mic. So, I am planning to do voiceover. I didn't really plan an intro for this, so apologies that we're just abruptly jumping right into this. I was just zoning this area for now. Right here I was actually trying like a new technique to build a custom park, and I think it turned out really nice. I painted in like a field type area and I put the playground equipment there, and it works quite well as a small park. It's not really used, but I just used walking tours to make sure it was used. And after that I just zoned more houses and a bit of commercial, just some corner shops and that. Also like in between these gaps you can see in the zoning areas, I do just place trees there so it's not empty. You can place houses there, but they're so small and it just doesn't look good, so it's nice to add some greenery to the area. Like these larger trees here for example, and even the small bushes. And here, as I finally zoomed out in recording, I'm not really sure what I was doing. So off camera I added some streets, not much, but I added, as you can see, a grid type street on the right, which is going to have a lot more high density. I added a couple more streets connecting the bottom, and you can see there's one curving up at the top right. I'm going to build a stadium there, along with parking and a big commercial zone there. So, but that'll probably be what I do last for the area. But anyway, back to the suburb. I added a basketball court next to the park. I just surrounded it in trees. Why am I removing the trees now? What the fuck? What was I doing here? What? Oh, very nice. Look at Mr. OCD here, wants to fucking line shit up. Okay. I finished up some zoning in the area and connected footpaths towards the main road. And yeah, that was basically this suburb done. Now after that I decided to instead move to the bottom left of the city because there was one more interchange that I wanted to make with the highway, but I didn't really know what to do with it because of the hill and the rail. So I decided to instead have the highway act almost as a bridge and have the intersection go underneath instead of above. So you can see here I dug underneath and just smoothed it out so we could access the city easier. And then I started building the bridge. I was actually having quite a bit of trouble linking the highways up properly and having it curve nicely because the game kept wanting to do weird things to the terrain. I'm not really sure why I kept doing that, though I did eventually get it in the end. And then after that I started placing the roads underneath and connecting them to the highway. The hard part here was just making sure the ramps link up correctly and didn't look too ugly. I had to smooth out the surface afterwards, and it doesn't look the best, but it's the best I could do. Next up I connected the rail lines together, and this was not fun. I don't know what's wrong with making bridges in this game, but it is surprisingly difficult, and took me a while just tinkering around with this until I got it right, but I finally did, and this was the result. And then off camera I added some decorations, rocks, trees all around, and I do personally feel I could have done a better job with the look of it, but either way it works, so that's what I'm happy about. Now right where the interchange links up with the main road, there was a gap left here, and I decided to test out the high residential zoning for the first time. So I built a pedestrian road and just added all the zoning to it. And yeah, from there I finally pressed play and just let everything build up. Except for the fact that everything decided to build up really slowly. I don't really get why sometimes the game just takes forever to build shit up. Like, the game does eventually build everything up, but sometimes it just does take a while. So I couldn't capture everything in the time lapse, unfortunately, but I did get a bit of it. I did also build a car park opposite the area. Also, I love how the parking lines just perfectly fit in there. And then I finished off by adding some greenery and trees to the area, just making it look nice. Then afterwards I began zoning out the area next door. I also had these two high density schools which will support this entire lower city. Put a few small car parks around them and built some pathways around the area, including some heading towards the upper suburbs. Then after some more zoning I decided to turn this area into another park. With these parks I always try to make sure everything's accessible and also looks natural. I once again added a paved area on the left hand side and put like a playground there, and on the right hand side there was a cafe and just a place to sit down. You do want to have like a nice amount of tables, not just one or two. Once again, the pedestrians don't sit on it or go down the slides or anything, but they do walk around it, so it still does feel very lively, and it's also just nice to have that realistic touch to everything. And after adding the fences I just added all the playground equipment to the play area. And yeah, that was about it for the park. And of course I added all the walking tours in the end. Then after I just filled the space behind with more shops, added more housing, built a police station and a fire station. I built a fountain there as well because I don't know, I like the new fountain. with a bit more random shit. I started drawing the layout of the boundaries of the suburb. We also built a hospital here because this will be the main like medical center, and just zone more around it. And after that, I just repeated the process of zoning and decorating for a little bit, and I'll just show a time lapse here. You can see here I was actually getting really tired of the auto-generated names because for some reason the game wants to name everything fucking Mason Street. Anyway, speaking of, this recording was like a while. Like this whole recording in this video was about 3 hours total, and I've basically just cut it down to 7-8 minutes, which is kinda nuts. And you can see here, this is how the suburb was looking. Starting to build up, people were starting to move in, and this area was basically done. So next up I started laying out the city below, which would be a lot more high density. And I also built another pedestrian path going down. Not the DLC one though, the modded one, because I was not really fucked to reorganize the pedestrian area again. And then you can see here I started to flood out this terrain because I wanted to build a harbour on the shore. So I flooded out and started building the road across it, which was a little bit annoying, but I got it done in the end. And then I placed a harbour and also placed a ferry dock for when I build a ferry in the future and connect it up to the road. And then I just surrounded it with trees. And while shaping up the area of the district, I had to come up with a name for the whole peninsula. And because this was recorded not long after the World Cup ended, I decided to name it Cape Verde after the country that, you know, made it quite far. Yeah, no, almost be Argentina. They really fucking should have been Argentina. Oh my gosh. Anyway, here you can see I decided to make this road a pedestrian road, which leads up to the stadium, which will be there soon. Well, it can almost be like a gather zone for the ultras to, you know, yell and chuck flares and like get the ride squad on them and shit. Anyway, here's the city so far at night. Still not done yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. We still got the whole upper section as well to do, which will be industry, and that'll be fun. Now, right after that, I did notice that the bus lines were getting quite congested and there were massive lineups. So I decided to link up the already existing metro stations and get them started up early. Ignore the fact that I did not have enough money to finish it. I did eventually though, so I finished it and then made the line and started it up. And yeah, that's about all I did. So I just enjoyed the sunrise going over the peninsula here and all the lights turning off. Next video I'm hoping to do that main downtown city and the high density in the grid on the right, and also the stadium, and just getting the whole place done. And when I'm done with it, I'll take the camera through the city, add all the finishing touches, show all the small details, and yeah, I'll see you lot in that video. Man, I have to edit the fucking Deltoon video after this. Kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me.